Let me officially kick off the webinar by saying good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Angela Shelton, the CEO of Answers for Associations. If we haven't yet met, it is so lovely to meet you. We run a community for association professionals across Australia and New Zealand. We bring everybody together to empower you, help you find the answers, and connect in that online and that digital space, and bring fantastic opportunities like this webinar today. So to make things a little bit fun, while I talk to you, I'm actually going to launch a little question for you. I just think this would be nice just to find out where everyone's headspace is at with AI right now. I know we're going to be talking about CPD, but this will be good in terms of understanding how you are really looking to find AI as a problem solver to the challenges that you have right now in your association. So let me also please acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting and coming together today. We pay respect to the elders past, present and emerging. And as part of that community spirit, I'd now like to also welcome our two special guests today. I'd like to welcome David Nord, who's from Pathfinder. He has a deep background in technology and AI, and more recently has been working in depth with our Answers members and our partners to help drive operational efficiencies, which I am continuously learning about, and I encourage you, it's always an ongoing journey. We've also got the lovely Lindsay, who is joining us today. Lindsay wears many hats, like most of us do in our organizations. She heads up the CPD team and is going to be sharing her insights. So today's session, we're going to be very specifically talking around how we can be reinventing our CPD with AI. And I thought we could take a quick look at our poll question. And let's have a look. I'm just going to share the results with those who have answered. There's some interesting results there, Darwin. So on that note, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to hand it over to you to take care of today's session. And if anybody's got questions, pop them in the Q&A. We will come back to them at the end.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Angela. And thank you, everybody, for turning up today. I'm noticing a few familiar faces, or names, I should say, from the detail session earlier this week. One of the most exciting things that I think I've noticed out of the poll is that a quarter of the people said the number one thing they want from AI is they want to be the first to launch something truly innovative in my industry. I love that. It gives us such an incredible opportunity to use this tech to actually stand out and do something truly transformative. So I'm going to dive into the presentation right now. Give me 1 second whilst I get that up. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so sorry, I need to go back a little bit. I've jumped way ahead by accident. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So today is really all about igniting the spark, how to think about and get started with AI in education and learning. So I say igniting the spark because I really just want to make you aware of so many of these cool things and be able to take advantage of it as best you can with this technology. And this session is all about how associations are getting 90% improvement across creating content, assessing content or marking, other areas like that, and getting their members and prospects to engage in content in new ways across CPD and education. These words are very deliberate, how associations are and 90% improvement. Everything we show today are case studies that we have delivered. And so they're not fictional or out of the possible. They're all grounded in reality and work that we've been deeply involved in. So if any of this is resonating with you, today is going to be a great session for you. And just another shout out to the people from the conference earlier this week. I just wanted to call out that I'm personally so optimistic about learning, education, and AI. I think it's a foundational opportunity for us to really lean in and make such a difference in the world, because everybody can have a personal tutor, a personal mentor through AI. And also every single educator can have a personal learning assistant as well, like a teacher's aide, a content creator helping them along the way as well. Before we dive in, I just do want to quickly talk about our company just for a moment. So we're very proud that we've recently won an award. We'll be in the AFR on the 9th of October as one of Australia's most innovative companies of 2024. I love that we're working with so many associations. It's been a great privilege to do that. And we're an AI execution company with lots of different capabilities in policy governance, design, CPD, as well as deep tech engineering. And the three things that we do are we train teams up on how to take advantage of AI. We find AI opportunities, build fantastic roadmaps for them so they can take advantage. And then we build incredible AI experiences as well. So a whole blend across those three. What's incredibly important to us is we really like radical games. We don't like gimmicks. I'm not a fan of little gimmicks of how cool AI is. You have to be able to get really big gains from it. Want to make sure people are future ready, that they're able to continually take advantage of. But one thing that's important to us, we talk about ROAM a lot. Now, what is ROAM? It stands for Revenue Uplift, Operational Excellence, Ambitious Innovation, or Mitigating Risk. Any AI initiative that you do needs to be addressing one of those. So that's an important way of how to look at it. So the purpose of today is to help move you along this journey. So 80% of people are right at the beginning of this journey where they're aware of AI and they've just started tinkering. So maybe they've just started using some ChatGPT. Maybe they're playing with it to kind of refresh some content or just explore a little bit. The more you progress along this and you move from tinkering to being really deliberate, saying, hey, we're going to refresh all our content using an AI approach into multiple languages. That's where we're starting to see the real multipliers of return on investment. At the beginning, people say it's helping them, but it's difficult to measure. What we're going to show you today is 3 grounded case studies that have all had 95% plus improvement. Now, I'm briefly going to give a 101 on AI. So this is going to help you understand how the magic trick is done, but you don't have to be the magician yourself. One of the key things with AI is that many of your experience of AI might be this snowman here, which is ChatGPT. Now, the key thing with this is it's just one app, it's one demo of a whole universe of AI. And that app is built on a fantastic technology called a large language model or a foundation model. Now, what that is imagine all the content on the internet. So websites from 2007, books out of copyright, all sorts of other things like that, books out of copyright, research papers, many other content. You combine all those things together and you figure out the patterns between them. All of a sudden, you have a tool that can access that information incredibly well. But one of the key things to point out here is that it's not just text, it's video, it's audio, it's animation, it's 3D, and it's so many other things as well. And that's what we're going to be showing you today. Now, I also want to give you an idea of how to think about these AI apps. So think of ChatGPT as a general AI assistant. So it does most things quite well, does nothing brilliantly. Like just like Woolworths has great food, but it'll never have as good specialty cheese as a specialist cheese shop. It's never going to stock that. ChatGPT is the same. Like it's general, it helps you with lots of things, but it's not brilliant at anything in particular. It hasn't been specialized in that. Now, this is a bit of a funny example, so bear with me. Let's consider you were looking to use ChatGPT for dating advice. So general ChatGPT will be okay at it. Now there's a narrow AI assistant, and this is not fictional. This is a real app called Riz that helps people with their dating game. And somebody's taken ChatGPT, narrowed it down with whatever experience and prompting they've figured out. And now you have Riz, which is specialist ChatGPT. But what you also have is AI turning up in the applications that you already use as a feature. So in this example here, this is from Tinder. I've never used Tinder. I was married well before that app was even created. This now will, you take a photo of yourself and it goes through your photo library and finds the top 7 photos of you for your Tinder profile. So you have these 3 groups. So general AI assistants, narrow AI assistant, and then also AI as a feature as well. Now, with this, there's so much opportunity across all of these narrow AI apps that many of them have been created here. So this is very fresh. It's about a week old, but these are the top 50 AI apps across the entire that are being used by people today. And so we're going to be highlighting a couple of these today. We're only going to be highlighting the ones that we're specifically using. But what I will also do is share a link with you for educators where they surveyed 100 educators and got the list of all the apps that they're using. Now, one of the most common concerns about sorry, yes, I see there's some hands going up. If you could just drop the chat in there, I will pause for questions now and again. But if you could just pop questions in the chat, that'll be fantastic. I'll call those out in a moment or two. Now, one of the top concerns about AI is what happens to my data. I'm worried that if we come up with some secret source training that we want to put in, and we use ChatGPT to do it, that one of our competitors could actually say, "Hey, what training is Pathfinder putting on next week?" And it's going to tell them automatically by how they're using ChatGPT at the moment. Now think of this in three buckets. Now, I first want to put your fears at ease. It doesn't work as simple as that. It doesn't automatically train and learn. But let's put your fears at ease in a more grounded, practical way, and I'll show you actually how you can do this yourself. Think of it as three categories. So your data is used as training data. Your data isn't used as training data for the model, or you eliminate it completely and you host your own AI. Most of you won't need this because the price and the complexity jumps up. But with a tool like ChatGPT or any AI tool, if it's free, you should probably check the terms and conditions, or just even what you're giving up to get it for free. Anything in tech, if it's free, you are giving up something in return. If you're on Facebook and it's free, it is free. You're giving up your personal data so they can advertise to you. Generally in AI, it's the same thing. So they're looking at your usage of the tool so that they can improve it for the paid users primarily. But there is a way to disable that. You can, as soon as you go to a business tier, and if you're buying ChatGPT for your team, you have to do this. This is the safe, secure way of doing it. It's the most compliant way of doing it. Is buying the team version or enterprise version if you have more than a couple hundred users, and then your data is never used. There's not even an option to have it used. And if you need to get more complicated than that, there are approaches there. Now, it's a good time to pay attention. I'm actually going to show you a way of how you can quickly disable your sorry, where did that go? Give me 1 second. I'm quickly going to show you how you can disable having ChatGPT listen in or not listen in, train the model on your data. If you go into ChatGPT, even on the free one, and you click up here, you'll see there's an option here that says customize ChatGPT. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Settings. If you click on settings and you go to data controls, there's an option here that says improve the model for everyone. As soon as I can't even disable it or enable it because we're on a business version. But if you've just flipped that to off, now no OpenAI doesn't train the model on your data, even if you're on the free version. So that's the number one thing I recommend at this point is just going in there and completely disabling that option altogether. Now, one of the things I just want to highlight before we dive into the case studies is AI that you're using right now is going to feel like a toy to what's coming in the next couple of months or the next 6 months. This is what we're using now, GPT-4. Within the next 6 months, we're going to see GPT-5, which is going to be 10 to 100 times more powerful than what we use today. And here's an example of the training data volume that it has compared to what it has today. Now, before we dive in, I want to highlight what we're hearing from our clients, that the top 7 problems that they're finding with education. So they need to refresh old content, and it's very time consuming to do so. They need new content takes months to do. Differentiating your competition is differentiating with speed and creativity. It's difficult for members to find our best content. They're not actually sure what members want. And content is only created in English. And finally, video takes ages and costs a ton. So any kind of video production is very expensive and very challenging. So what we're going to do now is actually dive into a few ways of how this can all be handled. Lindsay, I'll hand over to you to take it from here.
Awesome. Thanks, David. And hi, everyone. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. So I'm just going to pull up that exact slide that we were just on, just to walk you through the different areas within CPD specifically. So something that we've heard from our clients is that content isn't necessarily just the enabler of that piece of work that's getting uploaded and presented to members or having members consume it in some way. It starts way earlier. It starts with the research. It starts with understanding what your members want, the type of content that they're trying to engage with, as well as the type of content that they're wanting to see for future development. It's also looking at assessments. It's looking at how you're marking these assessments. It's looking at how it's graded against other associations to make sure that your association is the one that members want to actually go towards, as well as personalized experiences. This is something that is really coming up a lot, and we'll go into a lot of detail as what is personalization and what that looks like from an AI perspective versus a preference perspective. So to kick off, I just want to talk about one of our great clients, the Real Estate Institute of WA. We worked with them very heavily and their training team very heavily to understand what they were actually looking for from an end-to-end perspective for training and CPD and what that would look like. They had a very unique issue and opportunity to kind of work towards, which was they had training that was, they had hundreds, if not thousands of old training material that was very outdated. And it was almost impossible for them to actually update it because it relied on one or two individuals and resources to actually update that information. Secondly, it was also looking at how could they actually update and create content really quickly. So it was taking them 9 weeks end to end to actually go from researching, designing, and actually uploading that for member consumption. With our time with REIWA, we actually got that down to 3 to 5 days, which is obviously an incredible time difference and cost difference as well. So the demonstration, the first one at least that we'll be walking through today, is what that really looks like from a research perspective, how you can use ChatGPT, how you can create content almost immediately, and we'll do it all live on this call. So let me just quickly share the other screen. So, alrighty, so this should come up now. So for most individuals working within the CPD space would need to do some sort of research. So this, as an example, is just a forum that I found online specifically around property chats. And this is a section within that, and it's looking at property management. So this is obviously not just members or real estate agents. This is also tenants as well, asking questions within this forum. And something that is a really great tool to use for ChatGPT is scraping. So something that ChatGPT does really, really well is scraping websites to provide information for people. And ultimately, you're able to get an outline without doing a massive amount of research internally. So as an example, I'm just going to pop into ChatGPT and I'm just going to ask if it can scrape the last 4 pages of this website and come back to me with the top 5 discussion points. Oh, I don't know why. Of course, so this was the one I did earlier. So you can see it's the exact same prompt, but essentially it's saying that it searched the website and these are the top 5 discussion points that have come back. So essentially what I've asked it then to do is to put together a course outline based off of one of the items that it's come back with. So this is tenant behavior strategies, and it's provided me with a course outline. So obviously at this point, you wouldn't necessarily want to just go ahead and use this immediately. This is something where we would always recommend some sort of human intervention to review from a course perspective. Is this aligned with what your organization's trying to portray for members, making sure that it's aligned to what they're wanting to get out of the association? So you would have a look, and you can use this as a baseline. So it's provided me with this outline. Then I've also asked it, if I just go to this one, I've also asked it if it could fill out that content and if it could do it within a PDF, a PPT slide format. So it's condensed this down. It's saying this is per slide, what the information will look like. It's saying that we will have, this is what the goals and the strategy for the course will be. This is all of the different legal considerations. You can add examples here and start to actually update the content, which is pretty powerful. And then you can also ask it to download this for you in a Word document. So at least within, I think that was 2 minutes, we've got it to take a look at a forum. We've asked it to provide us with an outline. It's given us content and a structure for that PowerPoint, and it's also provided it to me in a Word document. So that's something that's downloadable. And that, at least from a perspective of starting from a research of an outline, is a great first step, which usually would take a long time for a team to do that research. Now, the next step is looking at how to generate that content, how to actually get it into an engaging format that is quick and doesn't just take someone hours and hours of time spending on PowerPoint, putting in icons, putting in images, searching for the right fonts. And there's an incredible tool that we recommend called Gamma. And it is a fantastic tool that we also provide training for as well. So I'll just go through a very brief overview of this tool today. But essentially, it's a very powerful tool to provide not only course content, but also I'll go through what it can look like for resources for your members. So if you're using some sort of white paper or research paper, that you can generate that content and have it downloadable. So for this example, I'm going to take that PDF and I'm going to put this into Gamma, and it's going to generate content for me. You can see there's a few options here in terms of generating. It does say that it can generate content for you, so using the one-line prompt, but that isn't necessarily always going to give you the results that you're looking for. So that's why I always recommend, if you can start with some sort of outline beforehand, it's really going to get you the content level and it will give you the results that you're ultimately looking for. So I'm going to go to import file or URL, and I'm just going to upload that file. Great. And as this uploads, it gives me a couple of options. For this example, I'm going to go with a presentation, and it's going to start to configure. So this is the overview that it provided me. As you can see, it's all lumped into one, but I can go card by card, and their equivalent of card is the equivalent of a page within PowerPoint. So I'm just going to say yes to split, and it's going to go through and it's going to split it automatically for me. You also have the option to generate new text, condense the text, or preserve. I'm going to preserve the text, and I'm going to ensure that we've got, it doesn't unfortunately have Australian language, but UK is the equivalent in terms of spelling and grammar, so I'll use that. And then from an image perspective, I'm just going to select the type of image that I'd like. You have the option to do a web search, but it also generates images for you. So I'm just going to enter that. And I'm also just going to format it the way that I'd like it. So I want to see it in the PowerPoint structure, but again, you have the option for a website. You can use it as documents. You can have it in portrait or even landscape. So it gives quite a lot of options for you to use. Then I will click continue. And then I'm going to just use our custom Pathfinder template. So you can have a range of standard templates that they have here, which are just different colors, different fonts, and different structures for how this works. You can also customize your version if you're on a paid version of Gamma. So for the free version, you get all of these for free, which is an excellent deal, I think. So if I go to the Pathfinder theme and then just click generate, what it's going to do is in real time, it's going to take that information that we've just put into it. It's going to then start to format it and add images to it. And it's also going to add, it's going to put icons. It's going to start to populate each of the slides, and all of the images are going to be generated and relevant to what the content's for. So as you can see, it's doing it pretty quickly. So some of them you might go and say, I'm not loving how this one looks. It's very easy for you to select the different layout and go, actually, I think I want icons with the text, and then it's going to generate icons. Or you can say, I actually want images with that text, and then it's going to generate the images as well. You can make it small, you can make it large, you can do almost anything. You can also ask it to, let's say this one, there's no images. Let's say I would like to make this more visual. And it's using AI to essentially go in and update this for you so that you don't have to do it. Now, this is really, really helpful for organizations that are spitting out so much different content. So if you're an organization, an association that is going out and is providing lots of different content for your members, this is a really fast way. And also you can have a really great, you can have a great set of standard across all your presentations to know that they will have a certain level of view, and it can be done relatively quickly. The great thing about this as well is that you can also share this so you can share it as a PDF, and you can also export it as a PowerPoint presentation as well. So I think this is a really great tool to utilize, and it's also a great example of how quickly you can go from taking some content online, figuring out a pathway that people are interested in, and then actually generating that content relatively quickly. I'm just also going to quickly go through what it could look like from a downloadable resource. So one of our team members, he's an academic and provides white papers all the time and an academic view on certain items within AI. And the format that he writes in is very, very black and white, and very, I think the nicest way is very academic is probably the correct term. So I'm just going to quickly show what that looks like. So we've got an example of one of his papers, this is the kind of format that we would receive it in. It's, obviously very content dense and not very customer friendly or client friendly to really be able to get the points across that we're looking for. And I'm just going to quickly show what we ended up doing within Gamma. Let me bring this one up. So we were able to transform that into this version, which was a condensed version. So it still has all of the content that he provided in that Word document, but it's just in a way more digestible view for people and our clients to essentially be able to digest and to download. So I think there's multiple different ways that Gamma can be used, and we can go into way more training and a lot more in-depth itemizations of different items and what's possible for Gamma within your team as well. So next that I want to talk to you about is, obviously it's not just static images that you want to be able to provide in terms of content, it's also video content and video structures, and it takes a very, very long time to actually go and film a video, edit a video, put subtitles on a video, get rid of background noise on a video. There's so much within video editing that it's almost overwhelming. And that's something as our business as well, we struggle with all the time until we found a lot of software tools that were available and they're completely off the shelf. So one that we use really frequently is called Veed.io. And I'll just walk you through some of the really great features that Veed have. They're not necessarily an AI focused company. They just have some incredible AI features to them that are really, they're pretty top market for the free version that you can get. If you do pay, you do get a few more features. But from a free perspective, you do get quite a lot of features from an AI point of view. So this is a video of David explaining about how challenging it is to actually create content. And so what I'm just going to do quickly is show how easy it is to auto subtitle a video like this. So we can ask it to be the subtitles to be in multiple languages. There's multiple different ones that you can select. So if you have members that are international and you're trying to get the same video out into multiple languages, we'll also show what that can look like from an AI avatar. So David will walk you through that in a second. But from an actual, if you've got the video set up and you're ready to put subtitles on it, you essentially select your language and then you select auto subtitle in in that language. It will then take it'll probably take about 30 seconds depending on the length. This is a relatively small length video, so it shouldn't take too long. But essentially it has now gone through and it's now added all of the subtitles there, which is incredibly quick because there are a lot of people out there that probably still manually subtitle all of their videos. So this is a very, very fast way that you can do it. You can also have the full freedom to add whatever branding you'd like. So if you'd like to have a certain theme or certain font, you can do that all here. You also have the ability, if there's not something quite right, you can actually go and edit the word. So it says, okay, this is actually quite a low confidence word. We're not sure if this was the word. It gives you that guidance and you can update it accordingly. So this is a really great way to quickly and efficiently add subtitles. Something that Veed also does really, really well is it does, if I just click here, it also allows you something called magic tools. So it allows you to clean the audio, which it does very, very well. So if you've taken a video outside interviewing someone and there's birds chirping, it will remove that for you automatically. This feature, which is the eye contact feature, is a bit creepy, but it works really, really well, where if you're someone that kind of scans the room or you have an educator that's not necessarily used to being in front of the camera, it will automatically have their eyes directed to the camera. You can remove backgrounds, add green screens. There's also a beta version of Magic Cut, which I believe will be coming out as a full feature within the next few months. But essentially, you'll take a first stab at cutting the video for you. So if you have quite a long video and you want to remove some of the ums, the ahs, or potentially there's multiple takes, it will assess those takes and then it will cut them for you automatically, which is, again, a great tool to cut down content quite quickly. And then the final thing I just want to walk through with Veed is you can actually utilize some of their AI avatars. So they do have a robust range of avatars. Let me just unselect this. Okay, there we go. So they do have a wide range of AI avatars. So these are individuals that you can utilize to speak and to essentially act as a representative for your organization. So essentially you drag them in, and as the example that we have here, we have someone and I've added, you essentially add a script for them and then they start to speak as if they are the ones speaking that script. You can select the language, you can select the tone of voice, and it's a very easy way to get that content up and generated quite quickly. So I'm just going to pass it back to David, who's going to go into a little bit more detail about HeyGen, which is taking this level of AI avatars for content generation and making it a little bit more robust.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Lindsay. So want to just focus a little bit more on this component. And I think it's such an opportunity in a number of ways that we're seeing this leveraged. One is easily to update old content that has video in it, create new content, but also to make it completely multilingual. So if I need to quickly enable audio sharing. Give me 1 second. Find it easier just to reshare it. Okay, so I think, particularly for those of you who said, hey, I want to do something really innovative, this is a fantastic way to start. So in this tool called HeyGen that we really recommend, dive in. There's a lot you can even do just with the free one, but it allows you to create virtual avatars of yourself, or also do voice translation. So here's an example of me speaking a language that I can't speak. Oh, sorry, that's hanging for 1 second. Whilst that loads, I actually have I've got a backup recording here.
Maligayang pagdating sa bagong panahon ng paglikha ng nilalaman gamit ang AI.
Sorry guys, give me 1 second. This is sometimes the risk when you do things live.
ng nilalaman gamit ang AI.
Ang kapangyarihan ng AI sa paglikha ng nilalaman. Maligayang pagdating sa aming video sa kapangyarihan ng AI sa paggawa ng nilalaman. So that's me speaking a couple languages. The first one was Tagalog, and the key thing with this is that you can see how incredible the lip syncing and everything is. So you might wonder, look, how might I use this in learning? You can record your courses and you can publish the video in so many different languages now, and it'll sync it all together. But that's not where it stops. What you're able to do there is, if you ever wanted to update your content, let's say you want to update it every 6 months or every month in different languages. If I wanted to update it, I don't have to re-record it. I just simply have to edit the script. And so whatever I want to speak in the future, let's say there's been some new adjustment that I want to do a training course on, I don't have to reshoot it. I can just update the script with a new text. And I can do it in different ways as well. So in this example here, let's say you've got a presentation and you want a little avatar of somebody narrating it. I just simply did this with the script here. Welcome to this guide on building public speaking. There's a fake version of my voice. Speaking and presentation skills. In the next few minutes, we'll explore why these skills are so important and provide step-by-step guidance to help you become a confident, engaging speaker. So now you can create a great narration in many different languages of your content, which is hugely helpful. And then you can create different avatars as well of different people that are doing that, real people or a fictional one as well. So that for marketing is also great. Today we're focusing on CPD, but you can imagine the marketing opportunity of that as well. One of the key things that I just want to highlight is, so the accuracy of the conversion is really high with an automated platform like HeyGen. One of the key things, though, is that there are other services like Verbalate that's very similar to HeyGen, but what they do is after the translation is done, it actually goes to a community that speak that language and verify it manually. So it is more expensive. They charge per word. But much cheaper than a translator, because all they're doing is reviewing it. So a tool like that, it is two things that it does to validate. The first thing that it will do is it'll show you what a reverse translation looks like. So it'll translate it to Tagalog and then translate it back to English and show you this is the first verification, and then you can submit it for expert verification as well, and they'll come back shortly after that. So there's lots of great applications there. I want to dive into the assessments part of what we've been doing. With assessments, we had one customer that'll be a public case study soon, where they were spending almost 3,000 hours a year manually assessing CPD content as being compliant with legislation. So they accredit it. They're a CPD accreditation partner. In this example here, let's say you wanted to accredit this Google course about introduction to generative AI for your industry. In the past, it was entirely manual. And so what we did was we created a way where you can do automatic accreditation. And the way this works is you upload the course that you're wanting to accredit. It can be video, it can be text, it can be PDF, it can be PPT, it can be any of those formats. It's going to analyze that course in depth, and then it's going to come back with this dashboard. So I'll zoom in a bit here. So these were all the areas that we wanted to assess. Calculating the number of CPD hours, calculating the learning outcomes, the number of learning outcomes achieved, a summary of the course as well, the text difficulty, the word count, a readability score. All of these things actually took hours and hours and hours, well, thousands of hours a year, whereas now it takes about 2 minutes to get the first cut of this. Somebody might still scan through it, but we really validated it. We battle tested it for a very long time to make sure that it was matching how people were validating it at the moment. So that first pass is saving this association about 2,500 to 3,000 hours a year by getting this. You can imagine the other applications of this as well around just even being able to categorize, being able to tag, being able to sort, being able to order. These things are incredibly powerful. Now, I know we're at the 9:40 mark. If you did need to drop early, the session is going to be recorded or has been recorded and will be sent out at some point in the future as well. So don't stress, all these things will be available. Lindsay, I'm going to hand over to you now to talk about our third case study, which is particularly valid for those that want to step into something bold and try something truly innovative. And that's about being able to recommend personalized courses for people using AI instead of just using preferences. So I'll hand back to you, Lindsay.
Thanks, David. So essentially, something that comes up a lot is this idea of, sorry, I'll just reshare the screen. Essentially, it's the difference between preferences and personalization. So this idea that as an individual or as a member, I will have a preference, not only if that's a professional development preference, but also personal interests. And then how that can actually drive personalization. So a lot of conversations happen of that people want personalized experiences for their members, which is a great kind of goal to achieve for an organization. But the steps to get there is needing to be defined, and also to understand the differences between what a preference is versus how to actually execute personalization. So a preference can be anywhere from interests to location to the type of learning content they like to receive, whether that's online or in person. It can also be things that they interact with in some capacity. And personalization is taking those preferences along with the data that you have internally, usually within some sort of CRM, combining that together to provide an output that's very, very personalized and specific to what they're looking for. So I'll go into a lot more detail of what that looks like right now. So this is an example of what a personalized dashboard would look like. So as a member, you would not be able to tell that there's any sort of AI engine behind this to actually walk through to say, this is, you know, we've used AI to take your information here and your preferences here, and we've spat this out. But what this idea is that this particular user is someone that's interested in business management. They're an orthodontic specialty within the dental field, and they prefer in-person events within Newcastle, as let's say that's their data set. So the type of content that they're actually receiving is very specialized and personalized to them. This also will loop back into if they search for certain items on your website, if they interact multiple times with courses, potentially engaging with 1 to 3 times more than other courses, then it will update what their preferences look like. This is something that we see really regularly with our clients, which is they have issues with people updating their preferences frequently. They do it once when they sign up, and then that's it. And then you're kind of just assuming that that's the preference that they stay for how many years. But ultimately, we're all, we're all nuanced people. We always change quite frequently, and our goals within a business change as well as personal preferences change. So this idea of what it could look like is really, really powerful. So what that looks like from a concept perspective is you've got your out-of-the-box personalization, which is what a lot of platforms, when it comes to LMS, some sort of Canvas learning system, will say that they're providing personalization at a very high level. And what that looks at is it's taking preferences from within that LMS system. So I'm a student or a member, and I've logged in for that first time or signed in for the first time. I've updated my preference in this instance to say business management, and I need X amount of hours for my CPD. What that will do is that will go against the course catalog within that LMS system, and it will assess what courses have been tagged as business management and the number of CPD hours. So those two factors are what will be assessed, and then the course that will spit out will be accordingly. So in this instance, yes, this course is quite accurate. You know, they're interested in business management and its CPD hours. And so it's essentials for starting a practice. But there's nothing about who they are as a person, what their specialty is, what location that they're based from. So what an AI engine can achieve is you take some information from your CRM. So in this instance, location equals Newcastle, their specialty is orthodontics, and then more information from the LMS and the addition of, okay, they've searched how to start a practice more than 3 times. All of these get ranked. So you could say theoretically that this preference is higher. So we want to make sure that we want to provide them more about preferences over maybe location, because maybe that's what's been determined as less powerful internally. So those rules would need to be set. That goes into an AI engine. Then that goes through to the course catalog, which spits out a recommended course that's very specific to this person. So we've got starting a practice for orthodontics within this location and the amount of hours. So it's these two are quite similar, but one is very, very personalized versus, okay, this is a preference that I've listed previously, and this is the outcome that I'm getting. We've noticed with our clients that the main item within personalization is really driving member stickiness and ultimately providing them with something that is incredibly not only personalized, but it's current to what they are looking for at their given time is, I think, very, very, very powerful, and where this industry is going long term, to have people engaged within member training long term. So that is ultimately what we've got in terms of all of our case studies, which is obviously quite a lot of content to digest. What we really wanted to get out of this time with everyone was to take away some items that you could go and immediately work towards, and you could download ChatGPT, you could sign up for Gamma and have a little tinker. Or you can also look at really sparking some initial thoughts of, okay, what could our organization do within the next 6 to 12 months to really set themselves apart versus another association within their industry? So that was really what we were trying to do with all of these demos today, and hopefully we've achieved that. I'm just going to pass it back to David to close out and to answer some questions as they come through.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. And yeah, feel free to just stop the screen share. I just want to recap the 3 case studies there. So the first one is all about content and content creation and content refreshing. So in particularly that example with REIWA. So what happened there was taking many years worth of content, extracting that information out and redoing it using Gamma in a standard, refreshed, beautiful format. And it's been benchmarked. It's gone from 9 weeks per course to 3 to 5 days. So when we talk about radical gains, that's incredible. The second one is around accreditation and assessment. So if you are manually marking work or manually producing reports or manually accrediting or tagging content, you can expect a 95% plus gain if you put some AI eyes over it. And the third one is all about that one-to-one personalized experience that we're currently working on. That there's more effort involved with that. It's tagging in lots of different input sources to make it come to life and rank that personally. But the prize is massive, particularly as a revenue driver. Being able to have mini MBAs recommended when they were just looking at your association as maybe a more clinical or professional association, but now you're helping them with their business management and other things because they're typically small business owners as well. There's a huge opportunity there too. Now it is difficult to know where to start. There's so much you can start with, and we really wanted to honor the intention of today, which is to highlight what's actually happening. So 3 real case studies. And if you do want to continue the conversation, I'm just going to put a link in the chat. It just simply flags that you want us to reach out to you for a conversation, and we can easily recommend some low-hanging fruit, some apps you can use and things like that. And if you need some additional help, we can also talk about some options for that too. So just click on that button in the chat. If you have any questions, we're still going to be open here for the next 10 minutes. We really welcome you to pop in anything small or big into the chat, or to put up your hand, and we can do that too.
I'm just gonna jump back in. Whoops, there goes my camera. We've got a question that's popped up, Darwin, if you want to jump in and have a look at that. Yep. What was the name of the app that you demoed for Assessment Assistant?
That is, it's one that we built. So there's nothing off the shelf for that, unfortunately. So it was, we had to look at how they assess things today, kind of tag that, how, like, instruct AI how to do it, prioritize it, and rank it. So that's a custom one, and we just did a very, very simple interface. But we can chat about options there. There could even be some simple ways to use even power usage of ChatGPT to use that.
I don't know how everybody else is feeling right now. We don't do CPD in the way that you've just shown everybody, but I now kind of want to start doing it. It just seemed like such an easy flow, such really easy to understand and use pieces. I loved the presentation. If anybody's got a question, I'd highly recommend putting it into the Q&A chat now. You do have another 5 minutes or so live with Darwood. He is super hard to get a hold of, so this is your opportunity. Oh, there you go. Now they're starting to flood in. I'll leave you to answer that one.
Right. Yeah. What's the best way to research what AI apps are available? Okay. So what I'll quickly do is I'm going to put, okay, so specifically for CPD and education, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the chat a link that I found where they surveyed what apps teachers and educators are using, and that's a good way to start. It's broken down by category, so like content creation or marketing, or there's 16 different categories that they break it down into. It is a continually changing field. I'd say follow me on LinkedIn. Whenever I find something that is actually useful, and that is battle tested, I put it on there. So that's one way I'd recommend it. There's a lot of things that demo really well, but don't work well in reality. And we experienced that on REIWA. When we were trying to refresh their content, there were a whole lot of automatic content, LMS content generated tools, but we found none of them actually worked as well as simply getting the content in like a PPT or a Word document with ChatGPT first, and then putting it into Gamma. So took away all the bells and whistles and just stripped it down to creating some content and then creating a way to visualize it worked best. Yeah. But I hope that helps. It's such a changing landscape. So just follow some good people on LinkedIn and then tinker. Got another one here. What are some ideas to generate novel CPD delivery methods when confined to the limitations of the organization's LMS? It is tricky, and so if you look at the LMS, even if it's really limited, it still will have a video function, or should. It should have a way to do video, and that's where you use another tool like HeyGen to record 10 different videos in 10 different languages, or you take what would have usually been a static kind of click through e-learning and turn it into a video of somebody speaking through with it, and you can get your CEO or some member or something to actually be the narrator of that, and you still publish it on that video on the LMS platform. This is exactly what we do, by the way, is we help people find the low-hanging fruit. So just book in a session with us on that link, and we're happy to just recommend some quick wins. There'll be some way to do that. Yeah. Great. Can you expand the AI engine to use multiple stakeholder and create personalization, not just in a singular? Oh, absolutely. So that is we call them signals. So you want to find the signals. Sorry, I just quickly, I didn't really read out the question properly. I almost read it to myself. So the question was, can you expand the AI engine to use multiple stakeholder websites to create personalizations and not just a singular LMS? Basically, how wide can we personalize it? And it's as wide as the data as you can grab. So and we call those signals. So think of going to a conference and you attended one session and not another session. Like, that's a signal of the type of content you like. And if you're using events and you're scanning people's QR codes as they're going into particular sessions, or people are registering for sessions online, those are signals of what people are interested in. And you can start adding so many different things. And if you're able to track how people are using your website, what they're clicking on in the member portal, bring that in as well. And we don't just want to stop there. We actually want to highlight the content that other people like them are accessing that they're not. Just like Netflix, just like Amazon, that recommended for you. That's the next level as well. And that is one of the reasons why we haven't actually found an off-the-shelf solution for that. We build a little AI engine that sits next to your LMS, but it's actually cheaper. It's more scalable. It doesn't lock you into one platform. So that's the approach that we go there. So that's as far as you can take it. Now, I'd love to post a question to the audience if I can. So I'd love to know, you can put it in the chat. What were you most excited or most inspired about today? Or what open questions do you still have? Just even one little nugget or something that you've taken out of today. It's really good to hear what's hitting the mark and what's inspiring you.
There seems to be one more question in the chat, which is, if I have an old webinar delivered in US language and I want to repurpose in AU language, is there an app to do that?
Yeah, definitely. So if it's in video, you would use something like HeyGen to essentially put an Aussie accent and Aussie language around it. If it's text, that's much easier. That's just a simple translation. Even if it's just a one-off, you can just do a lot of copy paste between ChatGPT and your LMS. Yeah. So yeah, lots of approaches there. Also, feel free to just book in a session with us, and we can talk through some options. Great, thanks, Sarah. I love seeing your comment there as well. I can see a lot of potential convert resources we have already to online learning. Absolutely. One of the great things that AI helps people do is you actually have a lot of very valuable content that was very difficult to do useful things with. I call it sleeper data. And so you could have a great white paper that you've published, or you could even have had a great presentation by a speaker at a conference. The gap between converting that to an online e-learning course was massive before, whereas now it's not. Like, you could actually take that video of that talk at the conference and turn it into an e-learning module with AI. You could actually just pop that into ChatGPT and say, it needs to be 20 minutes long, and it'll pull out the relevant information, or grab the script, all of those things. So there's so many options. And that's, I think, like, if you think today's been about AI, you've kind of missed the point a little bit. It's actually about, you've all just inherited teams. You've all just inherited a full team of translators, video producers, content creators, data scientists, writers, web designers, everything. And that's the key thing that you get out of these tools. Love it. Love all the feedback. Great. Good to hear. Feed was a big hit. Good. We like to think so too. Simple things. Clean up ums and ahs, gaps. It makes your videos awesome. Like video, anybody who edits videos knows, like, hours disappear. Hours and hours disappear. And you don't know where the time went. It's like, hey, I created this 2-minute video. It took me 3 hours. What? It's so easy. It looks so simple. Yeah, okay, fine. You've never edited it before. But this really helps. Yeah. One example at REIWA, when they recorded their the live stream from their Innovate conference, it was just rolling the whole time. Like, even when people were out to lunch and all of that, and put the content into Veed, use the function to remove the bad takes and the gaps and all of that, and it snipped the whole thing down to just the duration of the conference, and got rid of all the gaps and everything. Something that would have taken somebody hours to do happened in less than 1 minute. Got one final question here. Are there privacy considerations around using personal image on free image, your image on Verbalate? Tom, probably I need to know a bit more. Like, it's not going to go into, like, your images aren't going to be used by Verbalate or HeyGen or anything like that. They're yours. Like, it doesn't get used there. But I think that's what you're asking, you know, what happens to that information? It's no more like, it's not nearly as much as like Instagram or Facebook or any of those tools are using your personal images. It's very much yours and on your side.
Also, as a note, HeyGen is really strict with privacy. So, for example, you can't just take a video of someone and then create an avatar of them. There's a process to actually generate that avatar. You have to verbally consent through a webcam, and they will scan your face versus the video you've uploaded. So we've tried to do this with clients that say, "Oh, can you help us generate a video?" But unfortunately, we need them essentially there next to us in order to kickstart that process, which is obviously possible, but it's an interesting they have great privacy considerations, a lot of these apps, because it is a big concern for a lot of people.
We're at the hour. Kristen, I just saw your comment come in there. Can I reach out to you directly, and then we can answer that? That one's a bit more of an in-depth answer. Short answer is yes, absolutely. Yeah, very many options with that, but we can catch up directly on that.
That was a fantastic presentation, David and Lindsay. Thank you so much. And I think the questions speak for themselves. So what I'm going to say to everybody, other than thank you both immensely for that incredible presentation, is that we're going to wrap this up in a video. We're going to get this out to everybody. We're going to do lots of follow-up resources, and I'm going to put in there an opportunity to connect with David and actually deep dive a bit more around this topic today. So thank you both again. If you do have any last questions, feel free to keep sending them through to me, because I can collate them all and get them through to David. And then maybe there's a potential blog article in there. So thank you both. Hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much, everyone. Great. I loved seeing the comments and the feedback at the end, particularly around VEED. That's great that's hitting the mark so much, because we certainly find it useful and not something you'd think of AI and video. So yeah, great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great Friday. And Angela, thanks for hosting us today.
Always a pleasure. Take care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.